Wow. This is really incredible to be here. I already feel like I won. I'm surrounded by people. Everyone's a memory, and some of the things that I've been told today have nearly brought me to tears. It's a true honor to be here in front of you. It's incredible. There's just too many people to thank, but some that I really have to is my mother, my father, my brother Greg, my sister-in-law Christine, my great campaign team, my lovely wife Giselle, our three adorable, there's Carl. Say hi, Carl. Gracie's looking a little, there she is, there's Gracie. And our son August, and everybody that, took a day off from work to come here, And all the great stuff that you've been eating, we support local, and I just want to shout out all the people that were here to support us. Jolisa, Cakes by Jolisa, those fabulous cake pops. Olivia from Iron Oven in Munhall, and my brother from a different mother, James from the Pittsburgh Taco Truck, the great uniter of tacos. And the young man you see on this shirt, on the back of the shirts, I didn't hire a fancy campaign team to come up with our slogan for this campaign. It's Build It Back Up, and that was developed by a 16-year-old young man who's in our Braddock Youth Project, Mr. Devon Caldwell, who couldn't be here today. And of course, I want to thank Truth and Rights, the greatest band ever, and the Brew Gentlemen, and these great homegrown Braddock t-shirts printed by Ink Division. The guys did an amazing job. But really, today, I stand before you this morning because of some very, very improbable circumstances and the thinnest of margins. As a candidate, the one big question that we all must answer is, why are you running for this office? And back in 2005, when I first ran for mayor, the answer was simple: inequality. Inequality in income, inequality in wealth, inequality in housing, inequality in safety, inequality in opportunity, inequality in healthcare, and even inequality in the air that we breathe. I believe back then, as I do today, that it is one of the defining issues of our time. However, it wasn't always that way. It wasn't until the morning of April 6, 1993, when my best friend, through no fault of his own, was killed in a head-on collision on his way to my house to pick me up to go to the gym. A few more seconds either way, and he could have swerved to avoid the incoming car. At 23, that was my first up-close brush with death, and it turned my whole world upside down. I could not reconcile this idea of waking up one morning, eating your breakfast, kissing your loved ones goodbye, and completely being unaware that your life now is measured in a matter of minutes. My friend and I were in our last semester of business school, and the career path I had planned out for myself was very typical of someone afforded the privileges of the upper class background that I was lucky enough to have grown up in. And out of this grief and search for greater meaning, I joined Big Brothers. And it was only then that I would meet a person that would forever change the way I saw the world. My little was an 8-year-old boy whose father had just recently died of AIDS. And in 1994, this was a certain death sentence. And his mother would soon lose her own courageous battle with the disease a few weeks after we met. I was thoroughly and utterly ashamed. Previously, I would have thought adversity were 3 practices a day during football camp. I had never seen such disparity before. And in the city, incredibly coexisting just a few blocks away from one of the world's most elite universities. That's when I promised what was left of that little boy's family that I would do everything possible to make sure he could go to college. And to this day, I'm unable to reconcile that concept that confronted me, that I would best describe as the random lottery of birth, that arbitrary nature that through no work of my own, I was born into what the poet William Blake called sweet delight, while this little boy in New Haven was born into endless night. I wanted my career to have a bigger purpose than simply feathering the nest that I already had comfortably set up. And therefore, in 1995, I moved to Pittsburgh to join the second-year class of AmeriCorps. I served 2 years in the Hill District, an incredible neighborhood steeped both in culture and rich history, but also appalling socioeconomic disparity. And while serving at Hill House, I established some of the first community computer labs, taught GED classes, typing, Microsoft Office, and other things to young mothers and fathers. But in 1997, after serving those maximum 2 years of service, I went to Harvard University to combine the disciplines of social work, business, and public policy to develop my fledgling ideas on how to confront economic inequality. And after graduation, I was offered the opportunity to establish a GED program in Braddock, Pennsylvania, one of the poorest communities in the Commonwealth. And as corny as it admittedly sounds, I found my home and where I wanted to put my roots down. Speaking of home, my first one in Braddock was the basement of an abandoned church that would one day become our community center. And for those 4 years, I had the incredible pleasure of working and serving alongside a bunch of incredible, tremendously gifted young people. And some of them are actually in the audience today. Jaquane, Javon, Tremaine. I salute you guys. I've known these young men for 14 years, and I've always had their back, and today they have mine. But by 2005, I had reached a point where I felt that I needed a bigger platform to pursue the things that I believe were truly important. Therefore, I made the improbable run for mayor, and that was made possible only by the support of these students. And for those that you may not know or may have not remember, I won that election by one single vote. And if that isn't dramatic enough, that was actually a provisional ballot cast by somebody who insisted on doing so after they were told that they were not allowed to vote that day. And it's that one provisional vote and those few seconds on a bridge in 1993 and that chance pairing with my little in 1994 are the reasons why I have the privilege of standing before you today. Without winning by that one vote, I would have never had the supreme honor of being Giselle's husband, or Carl, or Gracie, or August's daddy, or the mayor of Braddock. A story from that election which haunts me to this day is one of a former student and friend of mine who raced home to vote during his only break from work. And barring his sacrifice, there would be no candidacy to announce today. But little more than a year later, early one morning, as mayor, I would be called to the scene of his death, cut down by the street game that he was never a player in. 10 years later, I am carrying that same flag and again, seeking a bigger platform to pursue the things that I believe are truly important. My speech today is not about touting what we have done in Braddock, but to acknowledge the sacrifices of so many people that made today even possible. I do not look like a typical politician. I don't even look like a typical person. I lack the metaphorical sleeves to roll up because all I've ever worn is short sleeve work shirts because I knew back then, as I know today, that only hard work can help build Braddock back up again. You know, I truly can't lose in this race. If the voters of this great Commonwealth see fit to give me that bigger platform, I will perform that duty the only way I know how, through honest hard work and collaboration. If not, I honestly stand here before you today as one of the luckiest people I know. I finally found a home after years of searching. And honestly, I already have the best job I ever will hold, being mayor of the community that I love. The truth is, I don't have any accomplishments of my own in Braddock, only amazing partnerships which have built Braddock back up. When I first took the office of mayor, my younger self described the challenge in colorful language that I would not want my own children to ever repeat. But I told my constituents that Braddock will never again be what it was, ever. But what it could be, with your help and buy-in, is healthier, safer, and a more just community than it currently is now. Therefore, today, I very humbly announce that I am seeking the Democratic nomination for the U.S. Senate. And I would never pander to you by saying that I alone could fundamentally change Washington, D.C. any more than I could bring back the 14 furniture stores that Braddock once had. But what I can promise you is that I will fight in a principled, collaborative way that my 14 years of service here in Braddock demonstrates. And I will take these Braddock values to Washington, D.C. I look forward to getting out across the Commonwealth and earning your support in these coming months. From the bottom of my heart, thank you again for sharing this very special day and for everybody for making this possible. Thank you very much.